Welcome back, guys, to my channel, No Bullshit. I'm Annalicia, and this is episode 2 of No Bullshit. So, coming at you with another book review. This time, it is The Secret. I know a lot of people don't like it, a lot of people love it, pros, cons, whatever. I love it. Yes, there are some things that, are a little woo-woo even for me, but there's a lot of good shit in here. And I've read this book several times at this point, and I've been able to make correlations between this book and other books that I've read, and it brings it down from that like woo-woo level to a realistic, like something easier to grasp onto or understand. So The Secret is by Rhonda Byrne. I believe that's how you say her name. The premise of this book is the law of attraction. So if you don't know what the law of attraction is, it is in its basic form like attracts like. And it has been taken into so many different realms and explanations, but the simplest form that I could find is that like attracts like. And in The Secret, they kind of break it down into a couple different levels of like attracts like. So your frequencies, your emotions, attitudes, perspective, things like that, all affect how you're creating your reality. And so what I didn't know the first time reading it is that it's one of like it's like a universal natural law, just like gravity. It's one of those. There's a bunch of them. I used to have a list of them stashed away, but I lost it. So all I know is that it is on that list. So these are just going to be some talking points that I have from the book. Mild ramble, hopefully a little bit shorter than the last one, but I don't make any promises. I'm a talker. So, one thing I need to do is take better notes because I can't read my own handwriting. Sorry, guys. So, in the book, it is put that you attract what you think about. And that everything in your life thus far has been a product of your thoughts, your attractions. Like it's hard to grasp sometimes that either the good situation or the shitty situation that you're in has been brought to you by you and by your mind. So Napoleon Hill talks about it in his Think and Grow Rich book. It is that idea of you become what you focus on most. And it is true because that's where all your energy is being directed. So if you're thinking about positive, prosperous, if you're thinking about your passions, the things that bring you joy, like you will be drawn to more of those things through like the compound effect. Like, the more you focus your energy, the more you become that thing. So if your mind is centered on negative, the bad stuff that's happening in life, or the feelings that don't feel so great, like if your mind is focused on that, you're going to get more things like that. Like in The Secret, they talk about how your mind, like your entity is a magnet, and you are going to attract things of a like nature to your magnet. So they focus on being very mindful about your thoughts, your frequency, your energy, and one of the things they talk about is how your emotions can be a good guideline for if you're thinking proper thoughts, because it's that idea of if I'm thinking good thoughts, it will bring about good feelings, and if I'm thinking bad thoughts, it will bring about those yucky feelings that we don't like. And the more we focus on either or, the more true and the more of that our reality will become. And I don't know if it's Shakespeare, but I hear it all over the place. So many people have said it at this point, but it's nothing is good or bad, but your thoughts make it so. And it's that idea of things are things until you put your perspective on it, until you put your emotions and things on it. So for two people going through the same experience, one can see it as an opportunity, where someone else can see it as a detriment, as like such an obstacle that they can't get through, as that wall that they're never going to be able to break through. Whereas somebody else can see it as a wall that, okay, well, this wall's here, but I have the capacity to climb that wall, and I will figure out how. Same situation, same limitations, but the perspective of each individual changes the outcome and how they're going to like handle the situation. And Marcus Aurelius says something along the lines as well in his meditations, that if you think something's bad, it's going to be bad. If you think it's good, it's going to be good. Like, I think the way he puts it is that if you think something is going to be painful, and it'll be painful, and if you have the reverse, like, it won't be. So it's like you make it painful with your thoughts. Like, you make it what it is with the way that you're going to perceive it, and it is in our control to change those perceptions. And in The Secret, they talk about changing your frequencies and changing your emotions, because you're essentially attracting what you feel. So if you feel shitty all the time, you're gonna more than likely attract shitty situations. And in all reality, you could be attracting the same situation, whether you're feeling good or bad. But if you're feeling good or bad, depends on how the situation's going to be perceived. So if you attract a situation into your life, but you have positive outlooks on it and different feelings about it, like positive feelings about the thing, it is going to be perceived as a good opportunity, a learning opportunity. There's going to be positive connotation to the event, versus the same event with a negative mind. You're going to see it as a bad thing, as a bad obstacle, as something that's either insurmountable or really difficult and not going to bring, a good outcome. You're going to have that negative spin on it, even though it's the same situation. So for me, The Secret is a lot about perception and understanding that perception is in your control. So it's being mindful of the things that we are in control of, and it's being mindful of where our mind likes to swing. So for me, I know I have a tendency to sit in the negative, and the longer I practice and the more I read and the more I understand like how my mind works and how the mind in general works and how these natural laws work and correlate to our mind, the more I can see, oh, I did do that to myself because I wasn't thinking the right thoughts. And to some degree, I find that my thoughts are unreliable, in the sense of I hold on to the wrong thoughts. And I don't remember where I heard it, but it was this premise of thinking your thoughts as being on a river, and rivers flow. And so your thoughts flow. Like, I'm not in control of the current of the river. Like, it's just going to go, and it's going to keep going until it doesn't go anymore. And even then, water has a tenacity to just break a path wherever it's going to go. So it's that idea of let my thoughts flow like a river and watch them go by. Like, I don't have to pull them out of the river and hold on to them, and I have a tendency to do that. And if I'm going to do that, I've noticed that I have a tendency to do that with the wrong thought. So instead of pulling the positive or opportunistic or, I don't want to say healthy thoughts, but that popped into my head. Instead of holding on to the thoughts that make me feel good, I hold on to the thoughts that make me feel not so good. And I am now in a place where I'm more mindful of that, and it's like, oh, I grabbed that, but like I could put it right back where I got it from and let it go down the stream and be gone. It was a thought and now it's gone. I don't have to hold on to it, because if I hold on to it, then that is what I'm going to make my reality. And that's what they talk about in The Secret, how your focus. So if I'm focused on my shitty feelings, like I'm going to get more shitty feelings, because the compound effect is a real thing. There's another book out there, can't remember who wrote it off the top of my head, but there's a book called The Compound Effect, and it talks about things like that. And it's very much like money will do the same thing in the proper situation. So your thoughts do the same thing in the appropriate setting. So if you're going to create an environment to create the reality that you want to live, you have to be able to be mindful of the thoughts going into your head. And it's more of being mindful of the feelings that you're feeling, because if you're feeling good, your thoughts are probably really good. And if you're feeling bad, your thoughts are probably shitty. So being aware of, I don't feel good right now. Okay, I can take it into my control to change that, you know. And it's a crazy idea to think that, like, at any moment, in any opportunity, I can change how I am feeling in the blink of an eye. You know, it takes just a few thoughts and a few deep breaths to be able to change your mindset. You know, I think it's Bob Proctor or Lisa Nichols references it in the book that you can change your feelings by focusing on somebody you love, or a happy memory, or something that makes you feel good, like your pets. Your pets can bring really good feelings. You know, sitting with your pets, petting them, loving them, giving them a hug, whatever it is, can draw you out of that negative emotion in that moment. And something else that was brought up in the book is that you can't have a negative thought and feel good at the same time, and vice versa. So if you do this exercise they talk about in the book, and it's like, okay, well, you feel like crap, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna sit with yourself and smile for a minute straight. And it's like, you can't be smiling and feel like shit in the grand scheme of things. And for me, when I sit and do that, I just start laughing at myself because I feel so stupid, because it's like, oh my god, I'll just sit in here like a goofball. I feel great even though I don't. And then because I made myself laugh, I ultimately feel better at the end of it. You know, so if it's being able to listen to a joke, or watch a funny movie, or laugh, or listen to beautiful music that makes you feel good, you know, these things will draw you out of that negative frequency so that you can jump back on the right road to where you want to head in attracting the things that you want in your life. And so the law of attraction in The Secret is broken down into 3 steps. And it is, step 1 is ask, step 2 is believe, and step 3 is receive. So step 1 is asking for the things that you want to attract in your life. And with all of the things that I've read about from different people about different things, I think that I don't necessarily agree with the way The Secret puts it, but it puts it in a really great light, and it like alleviates limitation in The Secret, you know. But as an individual, for me, I find that, like, I can't have everything and anything in the world. Like, I probably could if I tried hard enough and focused hard enough and had, like, priorities and things like that, but on the grand scheme of things, I am limited to, like, time and space and this reality. So I don't necessarily agree with the way that it is put in The Secret, but it is still beautifully explained. And it is essentially that the universe is a giant catalog. So think Amazon Unlimited, and everything and anything you could possibly want is right there, and all you have to do is click, drop, add to your cart, and guess what? It's free. So the idea that I'm not limited to the things that I can ask for, and that everything and anything is possible, is a very positive thing. And for me, I haven't gotten myself to a mental place where, like, I can visualize that for my life. But it was really well put in The Secret. I appreciated that viewpoint because it was different from other things that I have read, and it, you know, is not limited to anything, which is nice to think that I can, you know, go to the catalog of the universe and say, I want this, and put in my order, and it shall be received if I follow the steps appropriately. So the asking is essentially, think big Amazon in the sky, and I can have whatever it is that I desire, and I can just boom, drop it down into my reality. And so the belief part is believing that that is possible, believing that I can ask for something and receive it for me in my reality. So if it's weight loss, or if it's a car, a house, a spouse, whatever it is, if I can ask for it and then believe that it's a possibility for me in my reality, then that's step 2. And so one of the things they talk about in The Secret, which is also something they talk about in the documentary What the Bleep Do We Know, is that every possible reality, like, already exists. Like, it's already there. So, like, the reality where I'm the physique that I want to be, and the reality where I have the house that I want, and the reality where I have, you know, my significant other that I want, it already exists. It's a matter of, am I looking at the appropriate reality? Because where I'm going to focus on that reality, then I draw that into my reality, and they all exist. And what the bleep do we know? There's this scene where it's a basketball scene, and they talk about the idea that this basketball is everywhere and anywhere and all at the same time, and it is only here right now because that's where you drew your focus. And I'm sure if you watch the documentary, it is a lot better explained than what just came out of my mouth. But it's that idea that everything already exists. Like, the reality with the things that you want is already there, but you have to believe that it's already there, because then you can walk into that reality and like grab from it, type of a thing. And then the last part of the 3 steps is the receive. And so the receiving part, I feel like, is where a lot of people have the potential to get stumbled, like me, for instance. Because in order to receive, you essentially have to go back a step to the belief part and believe that you already have it. Like, it has to already be in your reality, in the sense of, it may not physically be here right now, but I can act and have the feelings as though I have the thing. So I can visualize myself in the car and produce those feelings of what it would feel like to have that vehicle or that home or the job, and it's about really using your mind to create those feelings of what it would be like to have that thing. Because once you feel like it's already there, it's like that idea of like, I already believe that I have it, so the doors of the universe are gonna open to that reality, versus, oh well, it's I don't quite believe it, or it's really hard to feel those feelings when it's not right here. So it's like this thing they talk about in the book and in the documentary is Aladdin and his lamp, the genie, and the genie always says that your wish is my command. So if you're going to think, oh, well, that's not quite the reality that I live in, or I can't produce those feelings of it being here because it's not here, your wish is my command, because you're thinking about it not being here. You don't have that 100% faith that the universe already has that thing for you, and you just have to believe it into fruition, type of a thing. And I really appreciate that, because I do feel like emotions are the things that, I don't want to say create your reality, but they create your perceptions of things, and they can be very unreliable, as well as thoughts, because they come and go, they flow on the river. But it is in our control to pick and choose what we're going to pull out of the river and hold on to. So what we want to make sure is that we're not focusing on those negative things, because in a lot of things that I've read, including The Secret, they talk about the mind and the subconscious in regard to that. The subconscious mind doesn't know what's real or fake. It doesn't know it's positive or negative. It just knows the thing. So if you're focusing on debt, whether it's I don't want debt or whatever it is, like, debt is the core focus, so that's what you're going to bring into your reality. Like weight loss, I want to lose weight. So if you're projecting this I need to lose weight idea into the world, you have to have weight to lose, and you'll be in that perpetual cycle. And it's the same thing of like, I don't want this bill, like, I don't want this, I don't want that, and your subconscious and the universe only hears the thing. So it just hears bill, it hears debt, it hears loneliness. Like, I don't want to be lonely, but all it hears is loneliness. So if you flip that, and it takes time, practice, like, it's not going to happen overnight, at least for me. Like, some people do have the capacity to just change that. I don't. I need to put a lot of work and effort into things that I do, because I have such ingrained habits, and for me it's become a habit to be negative. So it's my job to realize, like, my negativity has become a habit, and as it is a habit, I can change and replace it for something more productive and something more worthwhile to get the effects and things that I want out of life. So instead of focusing on the debt and the things like that, like, focus on the positive side of the thing. So instead of focusing on debt, focus on money, prosperity, like health, the the positive words. So like words carry weight and meaning, whether if you put not in front of it, you know, because the subject is still the subject and the mind is only going to focus on the subject. So if you don't want debt, don't say I don't want debt, say money comes freely and easily, I think is the affirmation that they give in the documentary. And it takes the negative subject out of the equation, which can be helpful in a lot of schemes. And for me, The Secret has brought into the forefront the fact that, like, my mind is mine to not necessarily tame, but to be mindful of and understand that, like, it's going to do both of these things, but whichever one I feed is the one that I'm going to get the most results from. So if I'm feeding the bad shit, I'm going to get more bad results, versus if I'm feeding the good shit, I'm going to get more positive, good feeling type of results. There were other things, and I just went off on a tangent and lost my space here. But, so in the book and in the movie, they interviewed the Miracle Man, and he had gotten into a plane crash, and they essentially had deemed him a vegetable, like, there is no hope, there's, like, you can't do these things. And he was like, you don't know what I can and cannot do, you have no idea how my mind works, like, I'm gonna be out of here by Christmas. And he achieved that thing because he had his mind, and that's the most powerful thing that we as humans can kind of harness, is our mind and our ability to use our mind to manipulate, like, our realities. And it was a really inspiring story to see that you have the capacity, like, as a human being, you have the capacity to walk out of different situations, whether you are physically walking out or whether your perspective has changed to the point that, like, I may not be able to walk anymore, but that does not limit me to being a healthy, prosperous individual who can provide something for my life and others in their lives, to be of value, you know. And one of the things that he says is that man becomes what he thinks about. And Napoleon Hill puts it the same way, where your focus goes, like, that's what you're going to become. What you think about most is what you're going to become. So if you're thinking that you're going to be a bum, you're going to be a bum. If you're thinking that, like, you're going to be a millionaire and you're taking those actions to propel yourself in that direction, you're putting the odds in your favor. I'm not going to sit here and say, like, oh, I thought thoughts of being a millionaire and I'm going to magically be a millionaire, because there's more to it than that. Like, you can't just think something positive and then all of a sudden it's going to be here. But you could think something positive that can produce positive actions, which can then produce positive outcomes, because it's like that old saying, faith without works is dead. So, like, you need action to do the thing. And in The Secret, the action would be the visualizations, the acting as if you have the thing, because if you act like you're a millionaire, you're going to have the thoughts of being a millionaire, and you're going to do the things that a millionaire would do to achieve that goal, versus the opposite. And yeah, I lost my train of thought. But this book is very helpful for me because it puts this positive spin on things that I have, you know, previously deemed negative, inevitable, or garbage, you know. And it doesn't have to be that way. It's in my power to change that limiting belief. And even Tony Robbins talks about limiting beliefs and how, you know, you can't create this reality of being a millionaire if you have a limiting belief of being, I can only make this much amount of money, you know. So limiting beliefs are in our power, and it's like they're habits that we have, like, ingrained in our mind so deep that we just default to these things. And being mindful of how we default to these specific things can help us change those things. Like, once you recognize the problem, you have a better chance of changing the problem than not realizing, like, A, the problem exists, B, the problem is in my mind, and C, like, oh, my mind is in my hands and I could do something about it, and it takes time and repetition in the sense of continuing the visualizations, like, not in the I'm gonna just keep asking to be a millionaire and think that, like, because I asked 1,000 times to be a millionaire, I'm gonna be a millionaire. No, like, once you ask, you don't need to keep asking. And the way they put it in the movie is, like, you wouldn't go order something online and then keep putting in the order because you didn't get it yet. Like, you put in your order, you know you're gonna get it, you have that belief that it's gonna come, so you're not gonna keep putting in that order. So it's the same idea with the action steps. Like, I'm not going to continue to ask, but what I am going to continue to do is proper visualizations, proper beliefs, and proper faith, like ingraining that undying faith of, like, I know that I'm going to get this thing because I have done ABC to get these specific outcomes. And it's really hard in the beginning because it's an unfamiliar routine, like, it's an unfamiliar habit, and you're fighting against yourself and you're fighting against your preconditions, and that's okay as long as you don't stop, because if you let these preconditions sway you, then you're gonna just default to these preconditions that have been giving you the outcome so far. So another thing that's brought up in the book is how where we are right now is not a result of what we're doing right now. Where we are right now in our reality as it is right now is a result of past actions, past thoughts, past manifestations. And that applies to all things. Like, I can change a habit today, but I'm not going to see the results of that habit until sometime in the future once it has compounded on itself. So, like, if I start eating better today, I'm not going to see the results and the effects of eating better today, but I will see that in a month from now. So it's like that with all things. Like, you have to put in the work and consistent effort to get past these preconditioned notions and habits that we have, and understand that where I am right now is not because of what I'm doing right now, but where I will be in the future is a direct result of what I am doing right now. And that is what is in our power. We can change these habits for ourselves, or we can change where we're going to be. We can't change where we are right now. We can't change the past. But what we can understand is, like, this is a result of the past me and the past things that I was doing, whereas the future me has a chance to be different from where I am right now, because if I make the decision to change what I'm doing and the habits that I am feeding right now, that future self can be different in a different situation and essentially in a different reality versus where I am right now. And it's keeping perspective of, I am changing this now for a result later on, versus, like, that instant gratification that a lot of my generation particularly suffer from, because we are very much a generation of instant gratification. I want it now, and not only do I want it now, I need it quicker. Like, I need it quicker, I need it my way, and that's it, because I know everything and I know better, when that's complete and utter bullshit, which is completely appropriate for this show. And for things to change, I have to change, but I need to realize, like, I can eat healthy today and not see a result from it tomorrow. And I may not see a result from it the next day, but I need to continue to eat healthy if I want to see the results and get the benefits and the effect of doing that thing will provide. It's just like working out. Like, I could do 20 push-ups right now and I'm not going to be the strongest person in the world, and I'm not going to be all cut and ripped because I did 20 push-ups today. If I do 20 push-ups every day for a month, I will see a difference, and that goes with everything in life. And that is just one of the key things that I got out of this, and several other things, but it was just brought to the forefront of, my mind while I was watching this documentary and reading this book for who knows how many times I've seen it at this point, because I've just been trying to kind of ingrain these ideas so that they become habits, so that they become my new conditioning, so that, like, I'm trying to combat and replace old conditionings that weren't working for me. And one of the last things I'm going to talk about, because I just went off on a tangent, I don't know if this was book review or not, but it felt good to get off my chest. So one of the last things I'm going to talk about is the idea that they bring up in the documentary and the book The Secret is that you are the creator of your life. Like, you are the creator of your reality, like it is in your hands, and you are the one bringing these things into your reality. And what it made me think of when I heard I'm the creator of my own reality, Joe Rogan had said this in one of his podcasts, that you have to be the hero of your own movie. Like, nobody's gonna come in and save you. Like, nobody's gonna save the damsel in distress, and it's not a Disney movie. Like, nobody's gonna come in and be the affecting change that, lifts you out of the rut that you're in. And that's okay, because it's more meaningful when you do it for yourself, because it shows you the power that you have within you to change the situations and your reality, and to change your mindset, your limiting beliefs, to change your habits, to change your preconditions, your like Bob Proctor calls them paradigms, to change your paradigms. Like, they have been instilled in us when we were children, and some of them work and a lot of them don't, and we need to recognize that they don't work and be our heroes and say, like, hey, this shit ain't working for me. I need to make a change. And it is up to me to make that change in my reality, in my power, and not everything is in my power, but what I can do is evaluate what is in my control versus what's not. And like in recovery, they teach that, clean your side of the street. Like, you are in your power. Like, I can't change how somebody's going to react to what I'm going to say or what I'm going to do, but what I can do is control what I'm going to do. Like, instead of lashing out and reacting, I can instead of lashing out and reacting, I can respond. Like, I can take a second and pause and respond, and sometimes not responding at all is the best possible outcome, and they talk about how other people, places, and things are not in your control, but where you find yourself and the situations you find yourself in are in your control, because the only thing you can control is you as a singular entity. Like, I can't control how somebody's going to react to the decisions that I make. I can control how I react to the decisions that I make and the consequences that may or may not come from those decisions. And recognizing that these consequences came from a previous decision also helps going forward, where it's like, well, shit, I decided to do this and I did not like that outcome, gives me the power to say, like, well, I didn't like that outcome, so let me not do that again. And you may need to do it a couple more times before you realize you didn't like the way that made you feel, or you didn't like the outcome that created. And that is totally okay, because that is how we learn. And some people take more time to learn than others. And I'm one of those that, depending on what it is, I need a lot to get it to sink it. I'm a hard-headed person, and I don't like being told that I don't know what I don't know, even though that's the reality of it. I'm a human and I don't know what I don't know. Like, none of us know what we don't know until we know it. And even then, we probably don't know it. And I know that doesn't make sense, but in this noggin, it makes so much sense. So, again, The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. I believe her last name is Byrne. It's a really great read. It's a great documentary to check out, just to get more of an open mind about something different and more of an insight on, the possible potentials of your mind. And I hope you enjoyed this rant ramble about the book. Again, Secret, Rhonda Byrne. Check it out. Thanks for checking out the second installment of No Bullshit, episode number 2. And this, again, is Annalicia. And thank you. Sending good juju worldwide. Bye.